Hello, welcome to Thank a Teacher podcast. Today we have an awesome, wonderful teacher guest, a kindergarten teacher from Delaware, Morgan Jewell. Yay! Welcome, Morgan.
Yay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm
Welcome,
really excited.
welcome.
We're very excited to have you on. I've been following you for a while and I have noticed that you have a lot of really, really cute clothes that you wear. So I
Yes,
immediately noticed that. And then I noticed that you have some links that we'll talk about at the end of our podcast today.
That sounds great.
Yay. All right. So, Tania, you
yay.
want to go ahead and ask our wonderful guest some questions about her favorite teachers?
Yes, I'll be honored. So, who was your favorite teachers and what subject did they teach?
So I have a very unique experience, especially going back to my elementary days. I have my mom and my grandmother were both teachers at my school. And
Oh,
so I was there all the time, before and after school. One really great thing about that school was everyone was just a family. The teachers, they really
sure.
cared about the students. And so that's why it's like so hard for me to pick just one great teacher.
Yeah.
And the reason it's such a unique experience for me is because I teach at that school now.
It's amazing.
So
Wow,
I
You,
get the chance. Yes, yep, exactly. So I get the chance to
that's
work with
amazing.
a lot of those teachers. So, but some that really stand out to me, my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Bolliard, that's like the first memories I have of school. And then my second grade teacher, Miss Barber, who I still work with today.
So cool.
And then actually, this one is a high school one, and this one's a
Okay.
little bit more special because it's my stepdad.
That's
So
so cool.
he teaches he taught animal science. He just retired, and yeah, it's very exciting. I was very involved with FFA, and so a lot of the experiences I had with him throughout that were really, really special and really helped me to kind of grow into my profession today. So, but yeah, definitely a unique
Amazing.
experience for me because I knew those teachers when I was younger, and now I
Yeah.
get to work with them and still continue to learn from them. So
Very
It's
cool.
just like
I
a
love that.
big old family.
it is.
So, what was your initial impression of them as teachers? Like, you were always around them, but what was your initial impression of them as teachers?
Right. So, kind of going back to Mrs. Boyard, I did go to preschool there, but the first like memories I really have of school were in her class in kindergarten. And I just remember because I was a very shy kid and I got a little bit nervous going other places without
Somewhere
my
new.
parents.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't have any recollection of me ever feeling nervous to go to school. She was just always so kind and like everything you can picture in a kindergarten teacher, that was her. Just very loving, and it just felt safe to be in her classroom,
Sure.
especially, going to school for the first time. And so that's something even today, like as a kindergarten teacher, I definitely want to kind of emulate that and make that experience for my students. Because as a shy little girl, it was
Mm-hmm. You remember what that
extremely,
feels like?
yeah, very helpful. And then with, my second grade teacher, Miss Barber, that was her name at the time. Now she is Dr. Collins. But
Look at that.
yes,
Wow.
I can just remember having so much fun in her class. She just has the biggest personality, and she was just always so funny and joking with us, but also just creating like really fun learning experiences. So we were learning, but also having fun
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. So just like having fun at school is what I can really remember
A lot
about
of
my
joy in her
yes,
class.
yes,
I love
Wow. A
that.
safe space. We love
for
safe
sure.
a safe space over here. So
Yeah.
that's amazing that, all of them was able to provide you a comfort of going to school and not having to be nervous or worried or scared about anything.
For sure.
And that seems to be a common theme that we're finding is people's favorite teachers are those who are funny, warm,
Mhm.
kind,
Yeah.
and allow them to just kind of, be
Yeah.
themselves and they're not afraid.
Yeah,
So
that
that's awesome.
relationship building is so important for
And you've
sure.
had several. And then you
I
have
have, yeah.
your stepdad. So tell us a little bit
Yes.
about him.
Yeah, so like I said, he was an animal science teacher, so he was the advisor for FFA, and he really, if he wasn't in my life, I never would have been involved in any of that.
Tell
My
others
first,
what FFA stands for, just in
so
case.
yeah, so it stands for Future Farmers of America, but it's kind of a weird thing because a lot of people assume it's like farming and agriculture, which
Right.
there is that aspect to it, but it's grown to be so much more. A lot
Cool.
of public speaking kind of competition,
Leadership and mhm.
leadership building. Yeah. So there's so many people who are not involved with farming and agriculture that are a part of it. So my first impression of him obviously was not when I was in his classroom.
Sure.
I grew up with him. He was in my life from when I was very, very young. But I will say it's really funny because he always jokes with me that when I was in his classroom, I never called him Mr. Shane, but I wouldn't
Really?
call him anything. I would just be like, hey, like
It
attention.
was an awkward situation for you.
Yes. Like, what do you
What do
call
I
him?
call him?
Hmm.
Can't call you dad,
Um,
and I'm not going to
yeah,
call you Mr. Shane.
yep, exactly. And then he jokes because my sister, was just in his class, and she's like, "Dad," like, she's total opposite of me. I was just more, but again, just in his classroom, like he really like created such great learning experiences and
Cool.
really, I would just say he really pushed people to meet their full potential. Like he really just believes in people and his students, huge advocate for his students, and you could just feel that. Like he wanted you to
That's
succeed.
amazing.
Even if you
Yeah.
didn't really like it at the time, like
Right.
he's doing it for your best interest. So,
It's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
sometimes what you have to do is,
yeah.
you know, see their potential.
Yes. Hmm.
That's
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
that's amazing. Can you share a specific memory or moment that stands out to you about any of them, like certain moments that you might have had?
Yeah. So, it's actually kind of cool because I think a lot when you say that memories thing of back in being in kindergarten in Mrs. Bulliard's class, and we would have the regular curriculum, but then you would have those little fun activities and things that you would do. And I can just remember like making crafts and, during purposeful play. And despite all of like the learning kind of things that were happening, those more fun experiences really stand out to me. And even some of, those things that I did then, it's just kind of been a tradition in kindergarten for the teachers to
Hmm.
do. And so
Mm-hmm.
now I get to do that with some of my students.
It's like you're not playing kindergarten teacher anymore. Now you are the
Or
kindergarten teacher.
Exactly. Yes. So,
Mhm.
one big thing that I always remember was that purposeful play, like playing in the kitchen or,
Hmm.
whatever it might be, building with blocks. And so I, now that education's kind of been a little bit more rigorous, especially in kindergarten,
Sure. Hmm.
that when I reflect on those memories, it really just instills in me like how important to build that
Yes,
doing. Yeah,
still
because those are
important.
just some of my fondest memories.
Because
Just
that's what you remember. You don't
yeah.
remember
Hmm.
the repetitive alphabet recognition or the
Yes.
repetitive.
Yeah,
I mean, you remember
exactly.
the sing song and the dancing and things like
Right.
that. So,
And then in second grade, there's a really specific memory that pops out is my teacher, Miss Barber, now Dr. Collins, she loved to sing. And every Monday, we would just sing Manic Monday. And I just vividly remember that. And it's such a silly little memory, but it's just something that I just really remember. And that goes back to just really like having fun and feeling comfortable and safe and just one
Mm,
big family at school. So those are probably
yeah,
the biggest memories that
that's
I have.
amazing.
very
That is
cool.
truly cool.
Manic Mondays
Yes.
Monday.
definitely was that the Go-Go's?
Yeah, I think
My,
before my time, but hey, we knew every word. So
do you mind Mondays
That's
now?
amazing.
Are Mondays good for you?
Mondays, see, I used to really I would get the Sunday scaries really bad.
Yeah.
And for no like particular reason, it's not that anything big or crazy. It's just that looming Monday. But
You
then
just never know what's going to happen on a
yes,
Monday.
and then but then, it's more so like just that little Sunday scary and then Monday comes, I'm like, okay, we're doing it again. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, because you never know what you're going to walk into as a teacher on a Monday. Because,
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
you're like, "Oh, Billy broke his leg over the weekend. Now I have to
Uh-huh.
push him everywhere in a
Yep.
wheelchair," or, something like that. It could be.
Yes.
Um, but anyway, awesome.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
that
sure
is funny.
your kids are enjoying you just as much as your teachers.
I try to, be as peppy as I can, get the coffee in.
Right? Exactly.
Have your coffee.
For
Gotta have the
sure.
coffee. That was funny. Can you say a moment where like any of these teachers influenced your personal or academic life where, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, they really did help me.
I think kind of going back to when I was younger and I was, you know, more shy and nervous about things. I think just being at school and having that safe, inviting environment was just so beneficial for me because it really just gave me a love for learning.
Hmm.
And, not even, just those specific teachers, but just the atmosphere and the climate in the school that I went to. It
The
was just
passion behind their teaching maybe
Learning.
really
yes.
influenced you.
Yes, my those teachers just poured into the kids. And it's nice because, it's a school where it's one of those schools where if you start your teaching career there, like you stay there. You don't
Yeah.
leave. It's like a dream place to be. And I just remember like I actually remember having to leave that school and just being so like
Oh no.
distraught. Like I'm not gonna be able to be at this school anymore. So and just yeah, just like the
But they
the
got you
love.
back.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
It was
And
like
this
my
is
dream
Hartley
place.
Elementary, everybody. Hartley
Yes.
Elementary.
Yeah.
Shout
So
out. Shout out to
I
It has
them.
a heart, right?
exactly.
But it's not
And
spelled that way. It's Hart,
yes,
correct?
it
Okay.
is. Yeah. And a lot of the teachers have retired, since I've been there or, even my mom and my grandmother retired from there, but it's just always had that really great family atmosphere. And I think just feeling safe at school was such a big influential thing for me at that age and just
Mhm.
developing the love for learning, which has really impacted me today because if I didn't fall in love with learning, I love my teacher so much. I would go home and I had a little whiteboard easel and I would make my
Mhm.
parents and I would, be the teacher and I just loved it and I loved going to school. I loved learning and so I think that's really, kind of moved into who I am today and that's why I am
Yeah.
a teacher.
You
So,
had it in you at
Oh.
such a young age of like what
yeah.
Hmm.
you wanted to
hmm
do.
And a
So
lot of
that's
people kind of
amazing.
joke like, because my mom and my grandmother and my stepdad, were all teachers like, oh, it runs in the family. And then I think back and they were a huge part of that. But I
Hmm.
think just having a great school experience from the start really, you know, was a driving factor in that too. So,
For
Amazing.
sure. Now I'm going to share really quickly because what a few things that you said remind me a lot of myself when I
uh-huh.
was younger. We had chalkboards, not
Okay.
whiteboards.
Okay.
So there was a boy down the street that had a chalkboard on his back porch and all the chalk and like a eraser. And
Mm,
my mom and dad were teachers. My father was a middle school teacher. My mom was an elementary teacher at the time. So I would go to her job, and some of the other teachers would, ask me to come down to their room and help them or something. And so I'd always like to write on their board, and I would
yep.
practice my letters on the chalkboard. So I
Yeah.
think being around all of that, just and then playing school on Jack's back
hmm
patio, or I guess it was his lanai because it's in Florida. And so I would ask all the boys, sit down. Okay,
Yeah.
6, plus three. Who wants to answer? I
Mhm.
would make them raise their hand, and I would call on them one at a time. And they're just like
Yeah.
shaking their heads, like, "Oh, Wendy." But we played everything. We were like,
Mhm.
very role play back. We didn't have
Yes.
video games or
That's how
like
we played.
5 channels on the
Hmm.
TV, I think.
Yep.
So, but anyway, so like you, I grew up, and then my mother was an educator, my father, like my whole family,
Hmm.
my aunt, my uncle.
Yeah.
So it was just in me.
Yep. It's really a calling. Like you either want to, you want to, and it's like there's not really any other option,
Yeah. Like
and
this
I
will be
definitely
fun, and it's not always fun,
no,
but
but
it does have its days.
I think the overall reward is just the best part. It makes
Yeah.
it much,
That's amazing.
much more meaningful.
Yeah, for sure.
It
So
is.
her teachers influenced her to be a teacher, really.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Exactly.
That's
amazing
very cool.
to,
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
to have that type of impact, on a
Yes.
kid. Like, oh, I'm surrounded by these amazing teachers. Hey, this is something that I could do.
I want to be
Uh-huh.
that someday.
And I
Hmm.
think
That's
too, just even, they just influenced me to want to learn. I can remember in Miss Barbara's class, she read Junie B. Jones to us and I loved reading. Oh my gosh.
I love I love
I
Junie.
to my kids
Yeah.
at school and I love those books and it made me want to, read and read and read. And I still to this day, like I've got my Kindle everywhere I go and I'd love to read. So I
Hmm.
just think it really just instilled that passion for me to learn and that kind of thing. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Amazing. So I know you said like you were a shy kid, but besides you being shy, or even if it was shyness, were there any challenges that you faced that any of your teachers helped you with?
So I haven't touched on first grade at all, but first grade was a really tough year for me. I had she was a great teacher, but she was very old school.
Mm.
And that was one year at that school that I was very anxious about going to school because I'm a people pleaser and
You couldn't fit her mold, maybe.
and I never got in trouble ever, but I was always scared, like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to do
Yeah.
anything wrong. And so that was a tough year for me. And it was definitely a year that sticks out as not being my favorite time going to school. But when I moved to second grade, you know, Miss Barbara, like I said, like she was just complete opposite. She was so warm and inviting and like it was a space where
And
it was okay.
fun.
Yeah, it was a space where it was okay to make mistakes and we learn from our mistakes. And that year really, I think, was pivotal for me because it
Hmm.
reinstilled that love for being at school. And I really just flourished that year and felt super comfortable being at school. And so yeah, I think that was a really big thing. And that just goes back to that relationship building,
Hmm.
she really made an impact on our whole class. I think we really just felt safe and appreciated at school and it was just fun and it was a safe inviting space and now she's our school guidance counselor and
I was going to ask, do you
Wow.
see her still today? Okay.
yeah, she's our school guidance counselor and she still is just wants the best for kids and she wants them to be safe and feel
Wow.
loved at school and she just pours into our kids at school and she always has done that and I think that's so telling from her progression.
Yeah.
I think I was her first class at that school. She was a new teacher and just to
Oh,
see her
wow.
now. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
She's gonna love hearing like the impression
yes.
she made
Mm,
on you as her
yeah.
first year. So imagine how many other children's lives she's
Oh,
touched up until now.
100%. And anytime I
Wow.
see, now it's funny because a lot of the students that I was in that class with, they
Hmm.
now have kids that go to
Yeah.
Hartley.
Oh my
And
goodness.
yes, and
Oh,
they say the same thing about her. They're like, "Oh, we just loved that class. Like it was just so much fun and it
Oh,
felt
they know they're
safe."
in good hands with Mrs. Barber.
Yes, yep.
Well, she's not anymore. She's
Dr. Collins now.
Dr.
Yeah.
Collins,
Mhm.
the
Dr.
guidance
Collins.
counselor.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Collins. And Miss Bolyard, you said?
Yes, Mrs. Boyer,
Okay.
she's retired,
Miss
but
Bo-
I still see her frequently. She's friends with my grandparents, and I was actually on a trip with her to Nashville last summer. So,
Crazy.
yeah,
Small
she's still a
world.
big part of my
Wow,
life. But yeah, definitely
Um,
both of them
that's
really.
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
My mom was best friends with my kindergarten teacher.
Okay. That's
Yeah, and we traveled with them all over too.
Yeah, it's funny like, being younger, seeing like the teachers outside of school. Like
Yeah.
it becomes
Yeah.
like just second nature. It's not even weird, you know?
For you now, yeah.
Yeah.
But for me,
Mhm.
because my mother was a principal, I think I've always just kind of like, gotten along with pretty much
Yep.
anybody at the school because I was just kind of used to, going around and talking to everybody and
Yep.
like my mom did. Well, you don't seem like you have any anxiety now, but that you're in charge of a bunch of 5 and 6-year-olds, so they're pretty easy as an
Yeah,
audience, aren't they?
they are. That's why I love teaching kindergarten because
Yeah,
they just want to love you.
that's right. So
That's
so cute.
amazing.
And were there any life lessons that you learned that you still carry with you today? Like
Yeah,
maybe even as a teacher, like what are some structural routines that you carry in your classroom that you may have learned from one of your teachers?
so I actually kind of want to touch more on being my stepdad's class and
Okay.
my time in high school. Because like I said, being involved with FFA, I was on the officer team and I did tons of different competitions that involved public speaking. And I, public speaking just really I get super nervous, but it comes so naturally that it's really impacted how I've done at the time it didn't really seem like much, but now it's really impacted my whole career.
He was
Um,
wise, yeah, knowing that you're going
yeah,
to have to use this in the future.
exactly. And that's, I think, why he pushed me to do it so much because, now looking back, I can really see, you know, how it's been so beneficial to me when I interviewed for my first teaching position. The principal at the time, I was fresh out of student teaching. This was at a different school, but, he said that was one of the best interviews I've ever
Look
seen.
at you.
And that was like, oh my gosh, like that
You learned the
really
skills.
yeah, I would not at all. I owe that all to that time in high school and everything that he taught me, through those competitions and just having practice and exposure. And then a few years ago, it was 2021, I won Teacher of the Year for our school. And process,
Congratulations, that's
thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Yay.
It
Congratulations.
was really exciting. The process for getting through the district level and becoming the district teacher of the year is pretty tedious. There's an interview, observation, different, like recordings and things that we had to do. And I just really honed in on those skills that I had gotten. And I was able to win district teacher of the year. And
Wow.
again, I owe all of that to my time during high school and my time in his class
That's
because
amazing.
like I said, I wouldn't be a public speaker if it weren't for that. And
Thank you,
you know,
Dad.
yes, exactly. And I had to give a speech in front of the whole district at our like opening day. And I always like I would always tell my coworkers like, "Oh, I'm so nervous." And they, afterwards they were just like, "You might have been so nervous, but you didn't show it
They
at
couldn't
all." And
tell.
I'm like, "Okay, well, that's good, but again, that's all thanks
I
to
was
yeah, everything that I learned, during that time." And I think, you know, high school's really a time when you can just kind of gain those skills that you're going to need for the rest of your life and I just got so much out of that and from
You
him
paid
and
attention.
I
Hmm.
yes,
You
and
understood the assignment, I
I
guess.
did. I did. He pushed me, but it was worth it for sure. And I had so much fun doing it. We had some really he just retired, so we did a whole memory book for him and just
Oh,
looking
that's
back on
nice.
like the pictures from
Oh,
that time, and it was just so many great memories, and I will definitely cherish those for a long time.
that's
Wow,
amazing.
you were very lucky.
I was, yeah.
hmm I have
That's
a
amazing.
question, another question. If you could say one thing to him now, what would you say? Just start with your dad, stepdad.
Yeah, I just would say thank you because he when he met my mom had a little kid, and he just really he didn't just, take
You
me
were a
on.
pack. hmm
Yes, and he really like, especially during my time in high school, I just want to say thank you for all the skills that he taught me because, and
He
I
was
think
meant to
that
be in your life.
it was for sure.
hmm
And I think the cool thing is that being in his class, I saw it was not just me that he was doing this for. Like he poured
It
into
was
his
just
students
good.
100%. And being at, all these his retirement celebration and things, just hearing the things that past students have said about him and how they have impacted their lives. It's just, I just want to say a big thank you to him for pouring so much of his time and his heart into his students because it's not just,
Yeah.
and I can't even say it's because I'm his kid. Like, no, he did it for everybody. And I think
That's
that,
Mr. Shane.
yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Shane.
Yes, correct. Yep. Yeah.
And what high school did you go to?
Smyrna High School.
Smyrna High
So,
School.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you. I was just wondering so that,
Yep.
this gets
Hmm.
Shout
back.
out
I'm
to
sure.
them.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and he'll definitely be watching this.
I'm sure he will. Get your popcorn, watch it together.
Yeah. And then to Mrs. Bolyard and Dr. Collins now, I just want to
Yes.
say, thank you for instilling a love for learning
Yeah.
and to really just helping me become the teacher I am today. And not only back during my time in school, but even now, just learning from them and seeing the impact that they've had on students and just knowing that for myself, I want to have that impact, even if it's just a couple of students that I can make
Yeah.
that difference in their lives, then that's, amazing. So
So
just
for
thank
people
you
that don't
for,
know, sorry, you've
no,
been a
you're
teacher
fine.
for 10 years. So I'm
Yeah.
sure
Hmm.
that some of your students are going into 10th grade.
Yeah.
Morgan, think
So
about
when
that.
I first started teaching, I taught fourth grade.
Okay, so some
It's
are
funny
even
you
older.
It's funny you say that because the first class I taught just graduated, which is
That's
Oh,
crazy.
crazy
wow.
But
because you
yeah.
look like you're fresh out of college.
Well, thank you. Yeah, this time has really flown by. Like it doesn't feel like it's been 10 years, but then also at the same time, like it does feel like
It
it's been
also
10
does.
years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
So,
Well, I didn't
yeah.
want to cut you off. I think, were you
No, you're
still?
fine. I just wanted to, thank them all and all the teachers that have come into my life for really just pouring into their students and not just it's not just a job to, those kinds of teachers. It's
hmm
like a passion and something
hmm
that, they really want to make a difference. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
very true.
amazing.
mm,
Working as a special ed teacher in schools where I work in a lot of different classrooms, I just love like watching other teachers teach and learning from them because they
yeah.
really can make you a better teacher, and
Yes.
I think there should be a lot of that in schools. I
Yes.
think we should have the time to be able to go into other teachers' classrooms and observe them
Hmm.
teaching and observe how they interact with the students too,
Yeah. I
So,
It's funny you say that because there's a lot of teachers who don't like people coming to watch them
I know.
and I feel that to an extent, but I also, I really love when teachers not just come in and watch me teach, but give me feedback.
hmm
That's because that's how we grow and that's how
Sure.
we learn. And I'm definitely not the teacher I was my first year teaching, and I've just
Right.
learned so much. And it's been because of other teachers. We go to all these
Right.
professional learning events and, we learn a lot there, but I think the most meaningful things come from learning from
hmm
others. Yeah.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
and just
That's
being
very
around
cool.
at the teacher's lounge table and chatting about
Uh-huh.
something they did that day that was, very successful. And I
Yeah,
was like the best practices,
and
how are you
I'm
doing
very
at work?
I'm fortunate because my team and I are super, super close. Like we're not just coworkers, we're friends, and we just support each other so much. And so I'm very blessed to work
That's
with
awesome.
great
Yeah,
teachers even
that's
today.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Because, like a lot of my friends are teachers too, because I find that, we all have the same things to talk about, but they are truly some of the most giving, caring, loving
Mhm.
people on the
For
planet.
sure.
So, they're just in my circle for reasons,
Yes.
other
For
than the fact that we
sure.
work together.
Yep.
So, is there anything else you would like to share about this experience with the audience?
I just, well, first I want to say I think this podcast is amazing, and the fact that you're really, thanking teachers and shining a light on all the wonderful things. I just think that's amazing. I think
Thank
in
you so much.
I see, you see so much negativity about
Mhm.
teachers and education, and I think it's really important, especially now that we go back to just looking at the positives. And, even myself, I find myself being negative about teaching sometimes, and this
Because
reflecting
it's
on
not easy.
it's
It's easy to
not.
sometimes end up like that, but
And I
knowing
think
that things aren't going to change much, like unless
yes,
we put out there how great teachers really are and what impact they're doing, and that's really the
yes,
only way I know how
yeah.
to make
And
that change
so,
is to get the word out that
yep. And I think
they're
that's
not
great.
bad people.
I think if you are, you are a teacher, be proud of this what you're doing, but also if even if you're not a teacher, if you have a teacher in your life or your child is in school, like just even just something as simple as a little thank you email or a thank you note,
Yeah,
a long
yeah,
way.
It's
absolutely.
really, it's
So,
I
really important. Even me coming from a student's point of view,
yeah.
I've always, respected my fellow teachers. Like we've
Mhm.
had a couple of my favorite teachers on here that are
That's
really important
awesome.
to me. And even, my lovely co-host, I came to her when, I wasn't in my happiest moments, or if I was having a
Mhm.
bad day, I could go talk to her and go in her room and just have like a peaceful moment, or just to know
Yes.
that I had someone
a
being
home away
there.
from home. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like now in this generation, a lot of kids they don't see, all the work that teachers do. All these
Mhm.
teachers come together to help kind of raise your child in a way to help them
Yeah.
learn, grow as a person. You're dealing with so many different personalities a day.
Mhm.
It's important that we have a platform to show you guys off, to show that you are appreciated, that someone out there is looking up to you, even to be like you one day. So
Mhm.
that's kind of special to me that we are doing something like this, to have people come on like you and say, hey, I had this amazing teacher who made me this amazing teacher. So
Mhm.
that's just really great, and that makes me just happy
Yeah.
inside that we're able to do that.
I think before coming on here too and just trying to, think of like who it was so hard for me to think who was my favorite teacher because there are
Mm,
so many amazing teachers out
Yeah.
there and
yeah,
it's just very telling when you can't even pick one.
that's very true. I know,
Mhm.
but I
Yes.
do think that gratitude goes a long way and it helps you see the good things in your life so that you can continue to create good for others
Yeah,
because those people created that good for you,
100%.
right? So then
Yeah.
now
For
it's
sure.
your turn. And I
Yes.
know that you're going to pay it forward as you continue to educate the
Hmm.
little ones, especially because that's like like you said, I don't remember a lot about what I learned in kindergarten, but I
Hmm.
remembered how my teacher made me feel, which
Yep.
was, just this was a place that I loved to learn and felt safe and had
Yeah.
fun. So
Yeah.
I think that's a common theme amongst what makes learning memorable in a
Hmm.
classroom
For sure.
is
Yes.
that
Yeah.
joy too, that
Hmm.
teachers are creating, I think. because
Absolutely.
it's easy to just say, okay, turn to page 353 and read to page 367 and answer the questions in the back
Yeah.
of the book.
Yep.
And turn your paper into this bin. That's really easy to do.
Mm.
But when you can sit and, say, saw you, play at that game last weekend, way to go, making a touchdown, or, hey, I heard you won first place in your gymnastics, something like that. I think just connecting with people and making them
Yeah.
feel
That's
like
amazing.
they're seen,
Hmm.
you have the power to do that.
Yes.
And those kindergartners, I'm going to tell you what, they have such bad separation anxiety. I remember having
Yes.
one that his face was flat on the pavement, kicking and screaming, not going anywhere. So
Yep.
they called me in because I was a resource teacher, and I'm like,
Okay.
what magic can I pull out of my hat here? And I have literally
I
used
always tell,
glitter to help the
I always,
kindergartners.
yeah, I
Tell them
always
it's
tell
magic.
parents, I always tell parents like, you know, because they'll be like, oh, they're crying every morning. And I'm like, I promise, as soon as they get here, I give them like
Yeah.
5 minutes and they are happy all day.
They
I promise.
forget
I
all
promise.
about it.
Like, please don't think that it's like this all day. It's not.
So true.
Hmm.
I
It's
can
so
say
true.
that's because I stay with my sister and my niece. She was in kindergarten last year, and
Okay.
my sister would get a call like Cecilia wants to go. She's just not taking no nap. She's not liking any of this. I said, Kira, she's playing now. As soon as she gets there, she's playing. But as soon as it's time to do
Hmm.
something that she doesn't like, she's gonna have a temper tantrum. I'm like, she'll get over it.
Yeah.
She'll
Well,
get
Yeah,
over
tough
it.
love.
I always tell parents too, like, I kind of want to cry when I have to get up out of bed and go to school too, but once
Yeah.
I'm there, I'm okay. I don't blame them for
Yeah.
not wanting to.
I used to have this mug, and you
Totally.
probably have seen it, but it was like something about crying, crying. I, woke up this morning and cried that I had to go to school, and everybody tells me that I have to go to school because I'm the teacher.
Yes, uh-huh. Yes,
And
yeah.
it's like, yeah,
Totally.
even the teacher cries sometimes,
Hmm. Yep, exactly.
especially after a nice long break, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And that's
Super.
okay.
Well,
Okay.
I want to hear a little bit about what you're doing outside of teaching. Morgan is all about teacher clothing, teacher accessories. She has some of the cutest outfits that I've seen. And of
Yeah.
course, I had to order some to show off today. So this is a beautiful necklace that has some really cute little school supplies and says A plus,
Too
some
cute.
keyboard, some cute little apple earrings, all by Betsy Johnson,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
we can find the link to that on her Instagram page.
Hmm.
So we will include that in our description. And this really cute shirt, and it has a cute little disco ball
That
that's an
is
apple. So I'm going to wear this on my first day, which is next week, but I just wanted to wear it today to get it broken in so that I could show Morgan that I can look almost
that
as cute
is
as
so
her
cute.
20
Thank
some
you.
years later. But no, seriously, you have some of the cutest ideas for
Cutest stuff.
clothes.
Thank
So
you. Thank
everybody,
you.
please check out Mo Jewels, and we will
Yeah.
include her
Yes.
in the description because you need her for your back to school advice. I just sent her an informative link telling her that I wanted a few things and what does she suggest, and she sent me some good suggestions. So I can wear this all the
So listen, I
time, which
gotta
I love.
Uh-huh.
I gotta
Yeah.
get me some pieces.
I
I've
made
got
I
my,
made some of these bracelets. This just
ooh,
says
I love
teach.
that. That's
Thanks.
cute. Yeah. Yeah,
Amazing.
I love I've always loved fashion and clothes. Like I was, after back to school shopping, I was the kid who came home and had to do a little fashion show.
Fashion. Yep.
But now I love wearing fun outfits to school because it makes going to school so much better, a little bit
For
better,
sure.
and
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 the
the
kids
kids
love
love
it.
it. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, yeah. So I've got my little sparkly pencil shirt and I've got
that
my
is
Betsy
beautiful.
Johnson too. So,
I
yeah.
saw the
That's
bracelet that
amazing.
matches that at Marshall's, just so you know.
Yes, I have that too.
And I almost bought it, but I was like, nope. I have my
Yes.
other bracelets that I made, so I don't need to spend too much money.
That's
Yes.
So
amazing.
We
Yeah,
are
so
on
I
teacher salaries.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, I also work with a lot of small businesses like, we have our little shirts from those and they're teacher owned. So if you want to support a
Yeah.
teacher, I'm always tagging them.
Yes, I will be sure to tag
Yeah.
who got this from in the description as well, because we are all about looking cute as
Yeah.
teachers, because I think
Yes.
that the kids love it when you appear friendly and
hmm
fun.
Yep,
So it kind of gives them a better experience,
for sure.
instead of just wearing plain old white, black,
Yep.
boring.
Heck,
I know, no
most kids
uniforms here.
boring to look at. Even as a kid, that's when I transferred from, Detroit public school going to Livonia, no more uniforms. I was able to wear the
hmm
shirts I wanted to wear.
Hmm.
And my mom, she worked at a thrift store. She worked at Value World. So I would be able to go in there and pick out certain pants and go with a top and get a nice discount on it. So,
I love
always
that.
being able to wear what you want to wear, it expresses yourself, you as a
Yeah,
person, a teacher.
Yep.
So that's
yeah.
amazing when you don't just
It's
see
an
your
art.
teacher wearing a regular shirt. Like it makes you look at them like, oh, you look,
hmm
you like you have a life outside of school
Yeah.
rather than just wearing like a plain shirt.
Yeah.
So that's amazing that you do that. Your kids looking like, oh, my teacher dress is pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. I know I
But
always get
I,
asked like, does anyone ever judge you for, I'm scared of that someone's gonna judge me and I'm like, you wear what you want to wear, you wear what you love, and who
mhm.
cares what anyone thinks?
It's very
So,
true. Life's too short to worry about what other people think
yeah.
because of
Yep.
what you chose to wear today. My
Yes.
my brother used to airbrush his he is so funny. He would take these karate pants and cut them off, and then they would have the fringe on the bottom, and he would airbrush them.
My
So they
God.
were original. And then he airbrushed
hmm
shoes, and he was airbrushing all kinds of things. This is back in the 80s though. So
Okay.
airbrushing was a popular thing. But he was like a little clothing designer. And then I went to school for fashion marketing and merchandising in community college before I became a teacher. So my son is now a clothing designer, game designer, graphic designer. And so we kind of all have that in our field, in our
That's
family.
yeah. hmm
Years ago, I asked my
It's
students,
amazing.
should I do one of those outfit of the day? And they're like, yeah, but now I'm like, no, not anymore. I just can't. I just don't have the time to look cute every
Yes,
day. Girl, I wear my hair in a ponytail half the time.
I do that too.
it's me. I do too. Having to run around with a 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old. You can't really have that many cute days. A lot of
I
spills and
remember
apple juices.
you're
That's the
lucky.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, totally.
Well, we are
Totally.
thrilled that you have become a kindergarten teacher because of the teachers that you were here to thank today. And it sounds like you've had some great people in your life influencing you and
Yeah.
a wonderful school that you can continue to work in and be a part of, and the community. You just exude joy. So I'm sure your students love you, and they're very lucky to have
Yeah.
you because you're just so cute and so sweet. So thank you
Thank you
so
so
much, Morgan,
much.
for coming on here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate it. It's been so much fun.
Hey, it sure
Thank
has.
you.
And I hope you have a wonderful school year. This will air on August 5th. So it's kind of our back to school special. So make sure that you check out the description and get some cute back to school things to wear so that you look awesome. If you're a teacher, if you're not, maybe just buy a teacher gift. Why not, right?
Good
And
idea.
thank a teacher by buying them something cute. Speaking of, I became a brand affiliate for Love a Teacher hats. So now it's on our website. So if anybody ever wants to buy a Love a Teacher hat, I get to allow it to help me pay for some of my classroom materials. So I think it's like a certain percentage goes back to my classroom, which is kind of exciting, but that was my first brand affiliation. So
Congrats. I love that.
Yeah.
thanks. It just makes sense. Thank a teacher, love a teacher, right? I still
Thank
have
the
to get
teacher.
one. Once I get a hat, then I will promote it a little bit more, but I haven't picked out which hat I want yet. So I'm still deciding on what I buy with all my other teacher outfits. So, well, thank you so much, Morgan. I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I
Thank,
appreciate it. Enjoy your summer.
thank you. And
Thank
Tania,
you
have a
so
great rest of your day
much.
too. All right,
You
have a
too. I hope you
wonderful
guys have a
and
wonderful day.
thank you. Class dismissed, everybody.